Hello, my children of the night. I am Anime Viewer 666, and today we are going to be taking a look at the best vampire anime ever. It's been a long time coming, but we're finally there. Today we are taking a look at none other than Hellsing Ultimate. Before I start the review, I should mention that there was an original Hellsing anime before the Hellsing Ultimate one. However, they remade it into Hellsing Ultimate, and it is about 1,000 times better. Really, the only thing Hellsing had going for it was Alucard, and well, both of the shows have Alucard, so yeah, go with the newer and better one if you have a choice. The story of Hellsing Ultimate is actually pretty simple. There is an organization in England known as Hellsing, yeah, that's surprising, whose main job is to hunt down monsters. Mostly vampires, but supposedly other monsters, even though we really never see any other monsters in the show. And of course, how does humans, weak as they are, kill a vampire? Well, with another stronger vampire. Enter Alucard. Alucard is the strongest and most powerful of all of the vampires. He is a living weapon. But what I like about this character most of all is that he is complex. Most might not think so, but when you look at it this way, most vampire stories try to make either a bloodthirsty beast who feeds upon the life force of man, or a kind, misunderstood vampire who just wants to live in the world. Alucard is sort of a mix of these two, leaning more to the first one, but here's what I mean. Throughout the anime, it is shown that he both loves his vampiric powers and all that it comes with, and sort of hates them and envies humans. Now, the hate and envy of humans is more of a subtext than anything else, but you can definitely see it as the show goes on. He gained the power of the vampire, and as it gained so much power. But in doing so, he lost the one thing that made him human. His humanity, his ability to die, and with that, life became meaningless without death. But despite the small glimpses we see of his humanity returning every once in a while, there is the most of the time of him just being the suave, debonair vampire who can turn into a bloodthirsty beast at the drop of a hat, who is the coolest and most awesome character I have ever seen in an anime. Seriously, this character is something that has to be seen and can't really be told. It is an experience in and of itself. Next up is Sir Integra Fairbooks Widgate's Hellsing, and I'm sure I've messed that name up somehow. This character is the only woman in the entire anime, or the only person for that matter, who can control Alucard. It's never exactly explained why, though there are hints that because he drunk her blood, not from her veins, but simply blood that dropped on the floor, and she was a virgin, that somehow that linked them together. It's never really adequately explained, but it is interesting nonetheless. It is made fairly clear that a virgin is necessary to be the master of the all-powerful monster as her father did before her. Once again, this is pretty much all just subtext. They never really say it right out, but it's fairly simple to deduce. She is the interesting character because she is able to do most anything, even though she is merely a human. She orders the respect of everyone around her, even those that are far above her power level. But even so, she doesn't really do as much as I would have liked her to. She gets a few moments in the sun, don't get me wrong, but compared to some other characters like Alucard, her role is mainly just staying in the corner and barking orders. But then again, considering she's the head of an organization, that's to be expected. Also, her name being Sir Integra, the Sir part of her name isn't so much a part of referring to gender as it is referring to her status as head of the Hellsing family. And of course, there's Ceres, otherwise known as the police girl. She is, for the most part, an okay character. She doesn't really get really cool until near the end of the show, but the character itself was supposed to be a viewing glass for the audience. The character who was just turned into a vampire by Alucard, and therefore would be learning the rules and everything about the world that she's now been put into, and so she is the looking glass that we as an audience see through, and she does that job fairly well. And of course, we have to talk about my favorite villain in all of anime, the Major. If you remember my Sword Art Online review, I said the worst villain I'd ever seen was the butterfly guy from Season 1 in the second arc. The reason I said he was the worst was because he was an annoying little twat with no real skill, no real power. The minute that things didn't go his way, he was basically peeing his pants. But the Major is different. The Major is charismatic. The Major kills and destroys, but he doesn't do it for any reason. He does it simply for war. He destroys for war. That is his only reason. He doesn't really have a big master plan of what is to come of the world after it. He simply wants war. You would think a character like that would get annoying. And I thought, when I first saw him, okay, a classic villain character just wants to destroy or conquer the world, fine, whatever. But as you watch, you see that this guy is truly terrifying in a way only someone like, say, the Joker could be. Someone who is so charismatic he can get people on his side, and at the same time have no indication that he's going to take over or give them money or whatever. No, he simply says straight up he's going to destroy as much as he can and enjoy it while it's happening. A psychopath, if ever there was one, but fitting for the Hellsing anime, because when you have a monster as your main character and hero, you need an even bigger monster to be the villain. And so, with all that in mind, I give this show 4 stars out of 5. Believe me, I would love to give this show 5 stars, but unfortunately I can't because, I couldn't mention them in the review, but there was a few characters whose backstories I would have loved to see expanded upon, and there was one character in particular who sort of did a 180, should we say. I won't spoil who it is, but I didn't like the turn, and it didn't really make any sense to me. But all that in mind, it's still a really good anime that you should definitely watch. With all that in mind, I am the anime viewer 666. Thank you, and good night.